Previously, Ye Tian was cultivating at their apartment with his newfound talent, high-tier cultivation talent. He was planning to look for the immortal jellyfish for its talent, but as he experienced the miraculous effect of a high-tier cultivation talent, he decided to cultivate for now, and once he used up all the monster blood he bought, he will proceed to the Lake of the Death. Ye Tian did so, but he passed by the martial pavilion first to get a map of the Lake of Death. Xiao Yu handed him the map, which Ye Tian paid with Li Kun's money, which was the blood money meant for his death, but he killed him instead. Xiao Yu knew the horrors of the Lake of Death, but looking at how determined Ye Tian was to go, she can only wish for his safe return. Don't misunderstand Xiao Yu, she just doesn't want a prospect that Yu Ling recruited to be harmed in any way. After getting the map, Ye Tian used his speed talent to quickly get there with his new fresh look, if I haven't pointed that out already. When he arrived, the place was the same as the wilderness, as everything was in ruins with a tint of miasma covering the barren lands. While Ye Tian was inspecting the area, he sensed a disturbance in the area, and suddenly, the lake near him rose up into a water sprout. Thinking it could have been caused by a fierce beast, Ye Tian used his shadow talent to hide, distanced himself from the lake, and observed the event for now. From afar, he saw a glowing orb hovering above the lake. Upon closer inspection, there were two figures inside the orb. It was a middle-aged man holding an umbrella, and a woman holding what seems to be a treasure chest. Ye Tian did not recognize the middle-aged man, but he knew the identity of the woman. She was Yu Ling. Suddenly, a wide gaping jaw appeared, threatening to swallow them whole. This makes me remember a scene from Jurassic Park. Anyways, the middle-aged man acted quickly and dashed towards the shore while carrying Yu Ling. As they have escaped, they can now see the figure that almost swallowed them whole. It was a water-type top-tier beast that looked like a dragon and has a dorsal fin. By the looks of it, it can also walk on land like a crocodile. It was so massive that they looked like mere ants. Acknowledging the danger, the middle-aged man pushed away Yu Ling to cover for her escape. But she was thrown out of the pan and into the fire as monsters appeared right behind her. The dangers of the Lake of Death loom at every corner, and the land wasn't an exemption. Seeing that Yu Ling was being chased by alligator-looking beasts, Ye Tian bolted in her direction to save the damsel in distress. Unfortunately for Ye Tian, the damsel in distress wasn't so helpless at all. Recognizing that she was back in a corner, she used one of her skills, a secret art. She manifested a rapier out of thin air, a mark of a pink flower appeared on her forehead, and her black hair was dyed pink. She used this power of hers to counterattack her pursuers as she can't outrun them. Yu Ling brandished her rapier around, dicing most of the alligators that were pursuing her. Ye Tian looked at this scene, helpless. How naive of him to think his novice rank could do something with this fight. Yu Ling was already at the peak of the elite warrior realm, but when she used that secret art of her, she became on par with a grandmaster warrior. While Yu Ling was dealing with the alligators, the middle-aged man was fighting a Godzilla. Unfortunately, he was caught and his legs were bitten off. He has no chance of escaping death now. All he can do right now was to send Yu Ling off while the beast was focused on him. He shouted at Yu Ling to quickly leave the area to not make his and the other 10 people death, just to obtain the chest, to be in vain. This was his last wish to the lady before he was swallowed whole by the beast. Hearing the middle-aged man cries, Ye Tian was curious. What could be so important that 11 people found it worth dying for? Was it the chest? These thoughts circled Ye Tian's mind while Yu Ling tried to escape, but her secret art started fading away. They say, borrowed power comes with a cost. So did Yu Ling's secret art. Her hair was turning black again and the mark on her forehead was already gone. As the effect wore off completely, she tumbled to the ground, almost losing her consciousness. The chest she was holding all this time got knocked off in Ye Tian's direction. I guess Ye Tian's chance wasn't cancelled at all, it was just rescheduled to a much later time. However, Ye Tian, as the gentleman that he was, picked the chest first. But seeing that the alligator-looking monsters were approaching, he picked up Yu Ling and escaped to a much safer place for Yu Ling to rest. Upon reaching a safer distance, Ye Tian laid the unconscious Yu Ling down and covered her with his coat. Looking at her sleeping face, which was rude by the way, he still can see their resemblance with his little sister Yi Yu, though with one difference. The mole. I don't know what got into Ye Tian as he tried to wipe it off, but that thing was real, bro. Anyhow, It has been some time now since Yu Ling slept due to the backlash of her secret technique. As Ye Tian was thinking about it, Yu Ling woke up from her sleep. She was shocked to see Ye Tian in a dangerous area like the Lake of Death. As she thanked him for his coat, she thought that it was very impressive for him to be loitering around the Lake of Death even though he was only a novice warrior. This makes her want to recruit Ye Tian even more. Suddenly, Yu Ling pulled out a crystal that was emitting light which startled Ye Tian. This crystal wasn't anything special, the thing that bugs Ye Tian was how and where she pulled that out from. He did not see her reach out to her bag, not that she was wearing anyway. Yu Ling pulled out a potion again from out of nowhere and said that they'll talk about it once she recovered. She then drank the potion and started cultivating. Ye Tian, on the other hand, was pondering if it was a space talent, but then again, he already inspected her talent before and she doesn't have any space talent. Knowing that he won't reach a conclusion from just blindly guessing, Ye Tian sat not far from Yu Ling and waited for her to finish. A couple minutes passed and Ye Tian fell asleep while waiting. Yu Ling was already done, so she woke up Ye Tian and showed him how she was pulling out something out of thin air. She then holds a small pouch in her right hand and the chest in her left hand. Then with a thought, the chest began shrinking and then it went inside the pouch. Seeing this, Ye Tian was amazed that it was a space pouch and not a talent. Seeing the enthusiasm in Ye Tian's eyes, Yu Ling then switched to his saleswoman personality and offered Ye Tian that she will teach him how to use a space pouch if he joins the martial pavilion. But before she could even finish, Ye Tian turned around and acted like he was feeling sleepy. No matter how beneficial it is to have a space pouch with you when you go around the wilderness, he can still get it if he can copy a space talent. The only problem right now was that he cannot enter the lake in the meantime since Yu Ling made a ruckus there. The both of them decided to sleep there for a while and pass the night. When the morning came, Ye Tian found himself alone. Yu Ling was long gone. But Ye Tian found a box from where Yu Ling was sleeping yesterday. Ye Tian opened it and found a mid-tier profound training manual, 10 bottles of high-tier monster blood, and 10 gold cards containing 1,000,000 each. Ye Tian inwardly thanked Yu Ling for the gift, especially the high-tier monster blood. With this much, he can push through the elite warrior realm. Thus, he decided again that he will enter the lake once he reached the elite warrior rank and started his cultivation. 4 months has passed and Ye Tian was still cooped inside his cave. But today will be the day he leaves the cave as a sudden surge of power entered his body. With a boom, Ye Tian has broken through the elite martial warrior realm. It has been a long time and his hair has grown long again. But right now, it was time to look for the immortal jellyfish. Inside the Lake of Death. When Ye Tian arrived at the lakeside, he discovered 11 graves. This must have been the grave of Yu Ling's people that died in the lake. With how strong the top-tier beast from 4 months ago, he doubted that there were any remains in these graves. He then saw one particular grave that has an umbrella stuck on it. He remembered that the middle-aged man used this umbrella when they get out of the water. Maybe it could help him enter the lake this time. Ye Tian held the umbrella and opened it. Suddenly, Ye Tian found himself inside a waterproof bubble. He was delighted. With this, he can enter the lake without problems. He then activated his speed talent and dived right straight into the lake. Upon entering the lake, Ye Tian activated his shadow talent so that he can get into the deeper area without any monster spotting him. But not long, a system panel appeared in front of him. It was a mid-tier beast called Tiger Claw Fish. If you thought it was the beast from 4 months ago, then you are wrong. I also thought so, but when I rechecked, it was 2 different beasts. Watching the ginormous beast swim by, Ye Tian was glad he activated his shadow talent, or else, it might get dangerous real quick. Not daring to dilly-dally there any longer, Ye Tian quickly dove deeper to look for the immortal jellyfish. Moments later, Ye Tian reached the lake's floor and was searching for any traces of the immortal jellyfish. Suddenly, a tentacle attacked him from behind, which he easily dodged. Facing his assailant, Ye Tian was presented with another gigantic aquatic beast, the one that was been looking for. The immortal jellyfish, which for me doesn't resemble a jellyfish at all. It looked like a mutated hermit crab and an octopus for me. Anyhow, the immortal jellyfish was only at the novice tier, but its healing talent was at the apex tier. It was much higher than a high-tier talent. This has become evident when Ye Tian welcomed one tentacle and sliced it with his primordial sword. It was cleanly cut, but in just a snap, the tentacle regrew like nothing happened. Ye Tian saw the effect of an apex tier healing talent for himself. This trip was worth it. Then, for another time, a tentacle was sent whipping Ye Tian's way. He braced himself for impact, daring to take on the attack. When the tentacle hit him though, he reached out his free hand, and activated his copycat skill. A prompt then appeared that the apex tier talent has been successfully copied. But Ye Tian received the attack, and he was sent floating into a nearby cliffside. Even with the buoyancy, the impact still hurt Ye Tian. But he was still rejoicing the fact the apex tier healing talent was successfully copied. The only thing that was left now was to merge with it, but he has to get out of this place first. Suddenly, the immortal jellyfish sent a poison attack toward Ye Tian. He blocked with the umbrella, but it was corroded and the poison reached his hand, which caused him to release the umbrella. The umbrella was destroyed, and now Ye Tian was out of the bubble without air. Suddenly, he received multiple pop-ups of the system panel, basically telling Ye Tian that a swarm of beasts was on its way. He already got what he get there for. No need to entangle himself with fighting a disadvantageous fight, so he quickly swam to the surface as his oxygen was limited. But even when he got out of the water, the tentacles were still so persistent, hence Ye Tian activated his speed talent to get back to his cave faster. When he reached his cave, he quickly recalled the system window and started merging with the talent. Ye Tian tried to brace for the pain, but after merging with different other talents, his body has grown accustomed to the pain. The merging has been successfully completed, and now, he has an additional healing talent in his arsenal. Though all of the talents he copied so far were pure support base, Ye Tian realized that has to copy an attack-based talent so that he can fight properly. Although he has a sword talent, it was not cutting it for him. Finally, he decided to go home. At their apartment, Yi Yu was complaining to Ye Tian while she was cutting his hair. He left her alone for 4 whole months and did not even tell her beforehand. Ye Tian was apologizing to her as he was searching through the encyclopedia of treasures. He was looking for the next monster to hunt that has attack-type talent to copy. Then he saw a page talking about a mighty ant, a low-tier beast that specialized in combat. With that, the next talent would be from a mighty ant. Later that day, Ye Tian visited the martial pavilion to buy something. Xiao Yu greeted Ye Tian and asked for the item he was looking for. Ye Tian did not waste a moment and directly said that he was looking for a complete body of a mighty ant. Remember back in the desert when the system wasn't able to copy the defense talent since the corpse wasn't complete because Ye Tian has scavenged all of the usable parts? Yes, that is why he needed a complete body this time. And why he was looking for a monster body in the martial pavilion, because a full monster body could fetch a high sum and warriors usually sell it for that. This will spare Ye Tian the time in looking for one, though would cost him money, but that doesn't matter. Yu Ling left him like 10 million yuan back there in the cave, so Ye Tian right now was rich. Unfortunately, the martial pavilion wasn't selling mighty ants' bodies. However, Xiao Yu has great news for Ye Tian. It seems like the seafront base and Iron Fang base was setting up a commercial route between the two, but there was a lot of monster in the way, that includes the mighty ant's nest. But Ye Tian was confused. Didn't the Mo family suspect the Iron Fang base for the incident with Mo Xiaobei? How were they cooperating right now? According to Xiao Yu, the Iron Fang base helped resolve the issue, and the cooperation with the Lin family for the commercial route was only possible because of the Mo family's help. With this information, Ye Tian definitely felt something is fishy. Lin family was the absolute ruler of the seafront base while the Mo family was just akin to a subject. While Ye Tian was lost in his thoughts, Xiao Yu handed him a token to participate in the said event for the commercial route. She said that it was supposed to be for Yu Ling, but their base was much higher than theirs, so they can only wish for cooperation. However, if Ye Tian were to participate, he might get his own mighty ant's complete body. Hearing this explanation, Ye Tian accepted the token and decided to participate in the conquest. At the Lin family's manor, a crowd of warriors was gathered. Ye Tian marveled at this sight. This makes it apparent how influential was the Lin family in the seafront base. Not long after Ye Tian arrived, warriors were shouting that Lin Mingji has arrived. Lin Mingji then took the stage, welcoming the warriors who adhered to his call and participated in monster removal conquest. He was the current family head of the Lin family and was currently at the peak elite martial warrior stage. At his back, 2 familiar figures walked on the stage. Looking at these two, Ye Tian smiled sinisterly. The two-figure was Mo Zhongqing and Mo En. Enemies do walk on a narrow path. Well, it was a small base after all. Lin Mingji then explained the contents of the task. The seafront base was a small base with little to no resources for the warriors to grow stronger. Collaborating with a mid-sized base like Iron Fang base will only bring benefits. Lin Mingzi acknowledged the danger of this undertaking. Thus, to keep the warriors hyped, he announced that all monsters hunted today will belong to the warrior who killed them. In addition, the seafront base will give 20 bottles of mid-tier monster blood and 2 million yuan to everyone in the martial warrior realm. While elite warriors will receive 3 bottles of high-tier monster blood and 10 million yuan. This increased the morale of the warriors gathered as they praised the Lin family. Amongst the crowd cheering, Ye Tian found a familiar face. Captain Galewolf, the captain of the warrior team who helped Ye Tian save a child from a fierce beast, Silvermoon Wolf. With how much time has passed, not even Ye Tian would know if Galewolf still remembered him. As the speech of Lin Mingji finished, he told everyone to gather at the central area to register their strength and receive their remunerations. Everyone then lined up in front of a huge boulder. The woman in front told them to put their hands on the assessment rock to check their strength. One by one, everyone started getting their strength assessed and receiving their remuneration. Ye Tian observed the overall strength of the warriors ahead of him. He was currently at the elite warrior stage, while most of the warriors ahead of him were weaker than him. Some were actually middle-stage apprentices. When it was Ye Tian's turn to be assessed, he relaxed himself and focused on controlling his strength. Mo En was present in his assessment. Getting his attention for being his equal at such a young age would spell trouble for him and for his little sister. Moments later, energy entered the rock. Then seconds later, Ye Tian's assessment was revealed to everyone. Late-stage martial warrior. This outcome was what Ye Tian has hoped. But even with that, he still garnered attention as he was so young, yet he reached such a realm. Even Galewolf and his team noticed Ye Tian's performance, but since he was wearing his cloak, Galewolf did not recognize Ye Tian. Then one of Galewolf's comrades pointed out how their team still lacks one person, so what about asking him to join their team? Though Galewolf liked the idea, they were a bunch of middle-stage martial warriors. Why would a late-stage martial warrior would like to join their team? Ye Tian was oblivious to their discussion as he walked straight toward them. When he was right in front of Galewolf, Ye Tian pulled down his hood and revealed his identity while greeting Galewolf. He did not take a moment and immediately remembered Ye Tian from before. He then congratulated Ye Tian for his achievement in a matter of months. Ye Tian then asked Galewolf if he could patch in their team, which Galewolf quickly agreed. This excited the whole team as a late-stage warrior entered the team. How would they react should they know that Ye Tian was actually an elite martial warrior? After their meeting, the warriors of the seafront base were assigned to their mission area. Ye Tian's team surveyed their area. The monsters around their area were mostly weak-tier beasts, but they can't lower their guards since everything was possible in the wilderness. Suddenly, Ye Tian felt beasts coming at them at a very fast pace. A pack of wolves surrounded their team, but this much was not a problem for Ye Tian and Galewolf's team. With a casual command, every one of them sprung up to action. Ye Tian and Galewolf rushed to the wolves. With their combined attack, the wolves were annihilated in a matter of seconds. With their easy victory, Galewolf bragged to Ye Tian about how he killed 3 wolves, more than one of Ye Tian's kills. For the record, out of the 5 wolves, 3 were killed by Galewolf while Ye Tian killed 2. While they were fooling around, one of the team wondered why the wolves did not wait for them to enter the alleyways before ambushing them. That way, they will have a higher chance of winning. Galewolf turned serious with this and said that the wolves would have done that if they can, but unfortunately they can't. Confused, his comrade asked for an explanation. According to Galewolf, this area wasn't the wolves' territory. Seeing that they have been driven out of their territory, there could be a stronger beast out there. This conclusion made his comrade nervous. There were only 5 of them. If in any case that they meet such a foe, how could they fight back? Galewolf saw his hesitation, so he pulled out a walkie-talkie from the Lin family. With this, whenever they meet an undefeatable foe, they can just call for backup. With this, everyone was reassured, hence they continued surveying the area. Not for long, Galewolf alerted his team for a movement. Ye Tian then pointed out a beast above them. When everybody looked up, They saw a huge lizard-like beast that was crawling along a ruined building. A system panel popped up for Ye Tian and it showed the details about the beast. The beast was called Fire-Breathing Lizard with Novice-Tier Innate Talent and Low-Tier Fire Talent. Just as the window appeared, the monster immediately used its fire talent and shot a fireball at them, which they all quickly avoided. When the beast jumped down to face them, the 3 members of Galewolf's team offered to deal with this beast. The 3 of them then pounced toward the lizard beast. Ye Tian, however, was worried for them. Galewolf reassured Ye Tian that it was just a low-tier beast, they should be good. After a long heated fight, the beast fell down. The 3 of them were safe for the most part with small injuries. While they were resting, when their guards were at their lowest, a fireball was fired toward the one who sat atop the beast's corpse. No one saw it coming besides Ye Tian as he grabbed the man by the leg to save him. The fireball missed them and hit the ruined building. They recognized the attack just now as that was the same fireball the fallen beast used. With that in mind, they looked at the direction the fireball came from. The sight frightened them all. 3 of the same lizard beast gathered at their location. Even one of those beasts could already pose a threat to them, much less 3. This situation was something they can't deal with, hence Galewolf quickly used the radio to call in reinforcements. But after shouting at the radio a couple of times, he received no response. This only means that the Lin family doesn't care about the warriors deployed in the dangerous part of the wilderness. Galewolf became enraged at this. He thought the Lin family was noble, but it seems like the seafront base was already rotten to its core. This situation was perilous for them all, so Galewolf decided to buy them some time to retreat. The bald head was refusing to leave no matter how Galewolf talked to them. However, the one that Ye Tian saved did not even look back and quickly left them with the beasts. Seeing his ungratefulness, the bald guy was so furious he was about to kill the one who ran, but he can't leave Galewolf, his captain, alone with the beasts. The woman then turned towards Ye Tian. They believed that Ye Tian has a bright future ahead of him, considering that he was already late stage of the martial warrior realm while being so young, hence, they want Ye Tian to vacate the area while they deal with the beasts. Ye Tian, however, wasn't so ungrateful to run away. He confidently marched to the humongous beasts while fully showing his aura. This time around, he will not hide his true strength. Galewolf and the other 2 felt his aura change and they quickly realized that Ye Tian was hiding his strength. He was actually an elite martial warrior. Ye Tian doesn't want to expose his true strength in the beginning, as he was just there to get his hands on a mighty ant's body or just copy its talent. But the situation changed and Galewolf and his team might die if he stuck to his plan. But seeing that Galewolf was so noble as to sacrifice his own life for his comrades, he believed that Galewolf and his team won't cause him trouble. Ye Tian then dashed towards one of the beasts after cutting through its fireball. In a blink of an eye, Ye Tian sliced the lizard's head off its body using his sword and speed talent. But the 2 other lizard beasts did not wait for Ye Tian to properly position himself as they attacked him with a fireball while he was suspended in the air. Ye Tian saw 2 fireballs flying at him and with a slash, he cleaved a nearby building. The upper part of the building then fell down and blocked the fireball. This gave Ye Tian a moment to land safely and plan his next move. Dashing out of the smoke, Ye Tian wielded his sword and used one of his skills. Shadow Blade. His one slash turned into multiple slashes that assaulted the 2 lizard beasts simultaneously. The beasts did not have time to react, and after that one attack, they both fell, defeated. Meanwhile, Galewolf and his remaining team watched as Ye Tian fought with 2 lizard beasts on his own while still keeping his advantage. This just shows how strong elite warriors were, and to think that this teenager that came along with them was that strong warrior. Suddenly, they heard a shout from a distance. It was the man who ran and left them, and it seems like he was in danger. But Galewolf did not appreciate his actions before, hence he left the man at the mercy of the wolves. But how could a beast show mercy? On the other hand, as the fight was over, Ye Tian called out to Galewolf. The road was cleared, so a decision has to be made. Ye Tian will continue going forward. Will Galewolf accompany him, or will they go back to the base? However, Galewolf decided to continue with their surveillance, hence they went along with Ye Tian and fought more of those lizard beasts along the way. After some time, while their team just finished fighting 2 lizard beasts, Ye Tian viewed the area up ahead from atop a building. He then informed Galewolf that it would be dangerous to keep going forward, so his team should go back while he will continue alone. This decision of Ye Tian surprised them. They already decided to stop their surveillance here and go back, but to think that Ye Tian will still go forward. However, they failed to persuade Ye Tian, and all they can do is watch as Ye Tian departed into the deeper part of the wilderness. For Ye Tian, he was done trying out his full strength as an elite martial warrior, so his next experiment would be how strong and effective was his apex tier healing talent. As Ye Tian walked deeper into the area, he noticed that everything was on fire and the smell was unbearable. While he was analyzing his area, a huge arm suddenly popped out from underneath Ye Tian. This caught Ye Tian off guard as he received the punch, but it did nothing to him as his healing talent quickly took effect. He then dashed back to counterattack but was met with a slap which he nimbly evaded. Then the full body of the beast finally came out from under the rubble and exposed itself to Ye Tian. It was an enormous fire-breathing lizard which seems to be special as it stood in 2 legs then crawling. It also has horns like a rhino, but this does not intimidate Ye Tian and is considered as the test subject. Suddenly, the beast opened its huge mouth and fired a fireball at Ye Tian at point blank. Ye Tian was unable to evade the attack and was swallowed by the molten hot gas. He was then sent flying back, crashing into the ruins. I guess, Ye Tian has a hobby of flying and crashing. Anyways, the explosion was loud and strong, and Galewolf can see and feel the explosion from a distance. The fight has started and all he could do was pray for Ye Tian's safety. Moments later, Ye Tian appeared from the rubble. Though his top was incinerated, his healing talent fixed his burnt body back to normal. However, the Lizard King did not give Ye Tian a moment to relax as it sent another fireball towards Ye Tian and he took it like a real man. Yet, even with that intense heat, Ye Tian's apex tier healing talent was very quick at fixing his body. This now concluded the experiment on how strong was his healing talent. Ye Tian then picked up the sword and dashed toward the beast with the plan of fighting it head-on. The both of them engaged in a rather long and fierce battle that has been going on for an hour. Galewolf's team was spectating from afar and was unable to ascertain if Ye Tian was okay with how fierce the battle was. And not for long, Ye Tian's healing talent overpowered the beast. Ye Tian, who was completely unharmed, sat atop the Lizard King's corpse as he declared his win.
Thank you for watching. Like if you want to see another part of this series. Subscribe for more videos like this. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a nice day.